Florida has to fire Billy Napier ASAP because the longer he remains the head coach of Florida football, the more he kills this program's reputation. I mean, it seems like anytime you got to play Florida in the swamp, you're guaranteed an easy win. And they lost this game to Texas A&M 33-20, but the actual score was 33-7. This was an absolute slaughter fest. I mean, Mike Elko put on a coaching clinic. He showed what a good coach, what a well-coached team looks like. Like, Florida's defense got carved up by Texas A&M's backup quarterback, who's a redshirt freshman, by the way. And why is it that every time we watch Florida defensively, they always got coverage busts? Like, it makes no sense how many busted plays they have due to guys just not knowing their assignments or being out of position. You thought they would have had these things cleaned up. The play calling, it's vanilla as always. Sunbelt Billy with the Sunbelt play calling. The team is undisciplined. It's like anytime Florida had anything go their way in this game, like they would take 2 steps forward just to take 10 steps backwards with all of the dumb penalties that they would be committing. This is just a poorly coached team. And at this point, you're better off with the interim head coach than you are allowing Billy Napier and Austin Armstrong to remain coaches for this program. Because the more games we see Billy Napier coach, the more Florida's reputation goes down the drain. And I really don't want to see them play another game with Billy Napier on the sideline, because if you lose to Mississippi State, who just lost to Toledo, no recruit should want to play for you. And imagine if you lose to UCF. Like, you will be 0-2 against 2 of the biggest programs in the same state as you. How can you even sell recruiting if you're Billy Napier? I don't even know how you can recruit right now. You can't tell recruits things are going to get better. We're in what, year 3 now? And at this point, I was wondering why Florida didn't fire Billy Napier when we got the 45-minute weather delay. They had a lot of time to think about firing Billy Napier and to just say, you know what, bro, like, don't even go back on the sideline anymore. Just clean up your office, pack your things up, and we'll mail everything else to you. We'll mail your final check, your final pay stubs, all that stuff, man, because Billy Napier is a disgrace to Florida football. Like, when I think of the Florida Gators, I think of Tim Tebow. I think of Urban Meyer. This is the worst coach that I've ever seen in all my years watching the Florida Gators play. Like, this dude is worse than Dan Mullen. You Florida fans wanted Dan Mullen gone, and for some good reasons, but with how bad Billy Napier is, Dan Mullen looked like a blessing in disguise. Like, Will Muschamp wasn't this bad. Like, Jim McElwain wasn't this bad. Like, Billy Napier is just allowing teams to come into your trap and take over your trap. And that's embarrassing. Because you guys talk about how difficult it is to win in the swamp. 90,000 screaming fans, the humidity, the weather. Well, it was raining today. And it was a downpour. And Texas A&M was just... They would just punch you in the face, man. It's like they just picked you up, slammed you on the ground, and they were just going to work with the ground and pound, man. They were just, I mean, they were trying to take your teeth out. Straight up. I mean, Graham Mertz wasn't good. DJ Lagway wasn't good. Like, the quarterback is not the problem. The problem is who is calling plays for these 2 quarterbacks. If you had Dan Mullen calling plays, DJ Lagway and Graham Mertz wouldn't look as bad as what they do. I mean, Billy Napier is an atrocity. And if Florida is serious about their football program, they will fire this dude right now. Like, fire him instantly, because you can't allow this man to coach another game, because every game he coaches, you further risk him destroying the reputation that you've built and worked hard to build for so many decades. You know, and we're getting to the point where now Florida's entering that territory of becoming what Nebraska has been for so many years. That's a program that all they have is their memories of what the glory days were, what Florida used to be. And I know a lot of you Florida fans come back at me and you say, well, now you know how it feels being in the situation we are as a Miami fan. Like, when people talk about how relevant Miami has been, it doesn't really bother me because I'm only 22 years old, so I wasn't around to remember when Miami football was winning national titles and when they were the king of the hill of the sport. So I don't really care about people going at me for being a Hurricanes fan and us not really being that great because I never was really around to witness those years. The best year of Miami football that I've been alive to see was that 2017 team that beat Notre Dame, beat Virginia Tech, beat Florida State, and lost to Wisconsin in the Orange Bowl under Mark Richt. The Mark Richt era, believe it or not, was the best era of Miami Hurricanes football for me up until this season. So, I mean, like, for Florida fans, listen, you're in the same situation FSU fans are right now. Like, yeah, you got to win, but I wouldn't be repping Florida Gators football anymore. Like, take all your merchandise and just hang it up in the closet and don't bring it back out until next season begins. Because this team is an absolute embarrassment. I don't even know how you guys continue to go to these games and support this team when you continue to get a trash product week after week. It's embarrassing what Texas A&M did to you. They had, 310 rushing yards? Like, oh my goodness. Like, Texas A&M took Florida's lunch money. They just bullied them. They just bullied them. Absolutely bullied them at home and your home turf. Like, you would want to have a little bit of pride. Have some dignity about yourself. This is the swamp. You just can't let these teams come into the swamp and walk out with an easy win. I mean, come on. Miami put their backups in against you. It doesn't get no embarrassing than that.